back to the channel. Today I come to you guys with the preview for the game between Arsenal and Manchester United in the Premier League. So let's get into it. I'd just like to say, after last week's performances, obviously many of you have probably heard that Axel Tuanzebe and Anthony Martial faced some racist abuse on social media. I just want to say that it's completely bang out of order, unacceptable. You know, we can't condone this sort of stuff going on in our game. Football's a global sport that's followed by many people, and the fact that racism is occurring till this day is just absolutely despicable. You know, we can't allow this to continue, and these people really need to be found out so that they stop doing these, you know, absolutely horrendous things and saying all this rubbish. You know, you should be basing players on their performances within games. You shouldn't be, you know, talking about their race and religion and calling them bad names just because if they, you know, just because they perform bad. Because at the end of the day, everybody in life has off days. You know, nobody can always perform to 100% capacity all the time. So for me, this racism really needs to be stamped out of the game. Otherwise, all the hard work that's gone into, you know, all these different movements is just, you know, it's just a waste of time if people are still doing things like this. So for me, racism really needs to be stamped out of the game. Anyway, let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about the press conference, and then we're going to have a discussion about Man United, you know, the form and stuff over the last few games. So starting off with the press conference, Ollie did mention about Jesse Lingard. As you guys know, Jesse Lingard's loan to West Ham has gone through. This season he's been struggling to get into the team as it is, so I think a loan move for him to West Ham, especially, you know, a team that's doing quite well in the Premier League, it's a good move. I think he'll get good minutes in the Premier League. You know, they sort of need that creative player in their team. So yeah, it's a good move for Jesse. I think he'll do okay, and he'll come back to Man United a fitter and fresher player, hopefully. So yeah, fingers crossed that goes well. There's also word on Marcos Rojo, so he's going back to Argentina, so I think that's it, he'll be done. Obviously I'd like to thank him for his services for the club, as I'd thank every player. But yeah, I think Rojo, he's going back to Argentina. And then Oli also mentioned Romero. There's nothing about Romero at the moment. He's going to be a Man United player for now. He's going to stay until his contract ends. So yeah, that's about it in terms of transfers and stuff. So moving on, Oli basically spoke about the sort of confidence levels of the players and how they felt after the Sheffield game. And, you know, there was a few things he said which were very true. You know, for example, he said that this is the Premier League. You know, if you don't perform against the sides the way you should be performing, then you're not going to get the wins. And, you know, he also mentioned that Sheffield have been unlucky in most of the games that they've played in this season. You know, they've lost 1-0, you know, here and there. So for me, this was a game where, you know, it was hyped up a lot, top versus bottom. I mean, myself included. I'm not going to take anything away from that. I hyped it up. I genuinely thought we were going to, you know, absolutely smash Sheffield 5-6-0. But obviously, as we all saw, that didn't happen. So for me, the players just need to pick themselves up, and they just need to think that, look, at the end of the day, this is a blip. You know, we've had losses in the Premier League before. Obviously, we had this beautiful unbeaten streak after losing to Arsenal in the league. We had a 13-game unbeaten streak until, you know, the other night. So we need to get back into that. And obviously, Arsenal were the last team to beat us before Sheffield, so we need it to be done again. You know, in the Premier League, Arsenal were the last team to beat us. We need to start off this section of the Premier League by beating Arsenal. So yeah, that's what we got to do, I think. The other thing I'd say about the game against Sheffield United, we had some poor performances that game, as I mentioned in the review. But each one of those individual players, you know, they need to pick themselves back up, because it's just one of those things. If we keep slipping now and we keep losing form and we lose another game, then the momentum just drops. The momentum goes, and that's it. We're going to capitulate, and we're going to end up going down and down and down in terms of form. So something we can't afford, really. So for me, you know, this game is a vital game. We do really have to do well in this game. As for team news, so Eric Bailly, after being out with that bang that he had, you know, as Ollie said quite clearly, he was out with a bang. Eric Bailly's fit again. And Martial, as we saw early in that last game, he went down with a shoulder problem. So yeah, he's back for this game as well. That's some good news. Both those guys are fit. You know, so we pretty much got a full squad that's fit. And yeah, you know, it's just all about picking ourselves up after that game against Sheffield. So for me, this is one of those games where Man United just have to look at themselves and say, do you know what? We're hungry to win the 21st title in our club's history. We need to just go for it. You know, we need to just press on. We need to beat Arsenal. Now we know the sort of players that Arsenal have. I'm going to go more into, more in depth in Arsenal in the next section. But, we know the sort of players that Arsenal have, and we just got to get through. We just got to beat them. Show them who's boss. So next time we'll be talking a little bit about the opposition that we're facing. Obviously this week it's Arsenal. So talking about Arsenal, there was a bit of news that Aubameyang might be unavailable for this game. Obviously that benefits us massively because Aubameyang is Arsenal's key player. He's the captain of Arsenal. He's their goal scoring machine. Okay, he's been off this season, but we all saw what he could do last season. And on his day, he's a very dangerous player. So Aubameyang missing this game, good news for Man United. I think Tierney also, he's a bit of a doubt. He's been picking up a couple of knocks here and there each game, so yeah, he's a bit of a doubt. But the player I do want to mention is their new boy, Odegaard. He's obviously we know he's a Real Madrid player. He's been on a few loan spells to Real Sociedad, and he's also been, I believe, in the Dutch league. He was on a loan spell. So I think this move to Arsenal will be his sort of breakthrough where he'll show what he can do. Now, in terms of the sort of game minutes he'll be getting, Arsenal have been lacking a creative midfielder. They had Ozil in their ranks. As we all know, he's now left. So Odegaard is supposed to be the sort of temporary replacement until they find someone in the summer. So for me, Odegaard, very dangerous player. He's got a wonder of a left foot. He can score from outside the box. Very, very creative, really good passing, makes good decisions. And, he's a good head on young shoulders, basically. So for me, Odegaard is going to be one of the players to watch. Another player to watch who's been gaining in form these last few games is Bukayo Saka. Now for me, I've rated Saka highly for a while. I've spoken to my friends about Saka a lot and basically said that this guy's one to watch for the future. And he's proving at such a young age. I think he's 18 years old, and he's proving how good he really is. And the last few games he's been scoring and he's been getting a few assists. So for me, another dangerous player, Odegaard, Saka, they'll be the two to watch for this game. In terms of Arsenal, though, so I believe since the Chelsea game where they won 3-1 after a long sort of battle of draws and losses, they've not lost a single game since in the Premier League. They've had a few wins, a few draws. So they've got some momentum going on right now. So it's not going to be an easy game, especially it being at the Emirates. Arsenal tend to be quite good at the Emirates Stadium. But overall, I think, it's a game where Man United really have to show their true character. So next I'll be moving on to my favourite section of these videos, the predicted 11 and my match score prediction. So as you'll see, I'm using this new graphic now, and my predicted 11 will be here instead of being on a piece of paper. So I'm going to start off in goal. I'm going with David De Gea. For me, again, he's always been our Premier League goalkeeper. He just slots straight in. Left back, going with Luke Shaw. He's our informed left back at the moment, and Telles played against Sheffield, and he obviously had that good cross for the corner where Maguire scored, but not really been doing the business. So Shaw's got to be the one to play. Centre backs, I'm going to be going for Maguire and Bailly. For me, that's the partnership we just got to use, especially if Bailly is fit. Can't be anyone else. So yeah, Maguire and Bailly for me. Right back, Wan-Bissaka again, our first choice right back. He's got to go straight in. Our Wan-Bissaka, that's the guy. The midfield, I'm going to go with Pogba. I'm going to go with McTominay. I'm going to go with Bruno. Bruno, Pogba again, slot themselves straight in. Our two major players. McTominay, I think he's the sort of box-to-box midfielder we need for this game. Obviously, with the height and the strength that he possesses, he'll cause problems for those Arsenal midfielders of Xhaka and Odegaard and Ceballos if Ceballos gets a game this time. So yeah, for me it's those three in midfield: Bruno, Pogba, and McTominay. And then in attack, on the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Rashford. For me, Martial, he needs to be on the bench for a bit. His form's just not been there. Rashford's been doing the business with Shaw, so Rashford and Shaw, their link-up play has been excellent. That's got to be the attack. Right wing, I'm going to go with Greenwood. Again, he's been the man that Ollie's had all his hopes pinned on this season on that right hand side. Dan James hasn't been really getting game time. Mata hasn't been preferred on that right hand side. So yeah, I'm going to continue with Greenwood in the side. And striker, it's got to be the Uruguayan pitbull. And currently my favourite Man United player, Edinson Cavani. Now, for me, nobody else can play in that striker spot apart from him for right now. As of right now, there's nobody else that should be chosen ahead of him in that striker spot. He does everything. He chases after players, even in that last game. Okay, his performance wasn't the greatest in front of goal, but he was running his head off. He was just running and running and running. And the movement he possesses and the footballing brain he's got, you can't put anyone else in. The experience, the goals, the appearances in, top flight football, it speaks for itself. So, for me, Cavani. So, once again, my predicted 11 will be right here. You can check it out throughout this whole section. Now I'm going to go for a score prediction. Score prediction will be... Now, it is Arsenal at the Emirates, so it's a bit tougher. Let's have a little think. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Manchester United win. I think we'll just pip them because we seem to have the better momentum overall. Okay, we had that blip to Sheffield, but I think we got this in the bag. 2-1. But it ain't going to be easy. But yeah, the players, they just got to be on form. I'm going to go for goals for Bruno and Greenwood. I think Bruno and Greenwood, they're going to be the two scorers. I think Cavani will get one of the assists. Not sure to who, but I think he'll get one assist. So yeah, that's my score prediction. 2-1 to the boys in red. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. I've noticed a lot of you have been watching my videos, but you haven't subscribed. So please do subscribe. It's a major thing for me for you guys to subscribe. I'll be very, very happy, very grateful if you guys subscribe to my channel. And like the video, comment as always. And there's only two things left to say. Goodbye and come on United!